I discovered NoFap over a year ago on our addiction and thought it would be so strange to even quit fapping in the first place. I was fapping 3 times a day minimum for years before I read about this. I knew I should cut back, but finding our NoFap changed my life. I found this subreddit shortly after finding NoFap. I had just quit nicotine and was struggling hard with coping. Using lots and lots of psychedelics, tripping on shrooms or acid 3 times a week, hoping it would cure me. Smoking 16 joints per day. I was a mess. I continued to try to quit, but I could only make it 3 days without fapping for the first 2 months of me trying to quit. I meditated a few times a week for about a year before this, but I decided in May 2019 I would never skip a day of meditation, and I haven't. Back then I was doing it 5 to 10 minutes per day, and small streaks plus meditation helped me stay off nicotine. 444 days clean, quit using psychedelics, that's another story, over a year off them, quit caffeine, 402 days clean, as well as stay off of Adderall, opioids, and alcohol, all of which I was addicted to. Any day I decided I was tired of feeling like shit every time I busted, and I would do anything to have what I read about on this sub. People seemed to be feeling like they were on drugs being completely sober. I wanted that. At long last, on July 21, 2019, I finally quit fapping forever. I went on a 28-day streak of pure SR, which was so difficult for me, I would run to the park just to avoid touching my morning wood back then. Sadly, I began to have sex again with my girlfriend at the time, but I never took up fapping again. I had amazing sex. I used to need LSD or Adderall to have really good sex before, still had sex 3 times a day regardless of what drugs I was on, but saving my seed topped them both. However, I instantly regretted it, but more so after 2 or 3 more sessions. My girlfriend was hooked, and I was becoming a slave to my urges, but justifying it because it was with my GF. I went on a couple short streaks where we would abstain from sex, but no more than a week and a half. Sex was a huge part of our relationship. During this time, I had let go of most of my addictions, had a month and a half where I was drinking again, which made SR impossible and killed me inside, and all that was left were my 2 longest lasting, sex and marijuana, a deadly combo. My girlfriend wanted me to get sober, so I quit smoking weed for her. I had been getting high every hour of the day for over 3.5 years before this, and I couldn't imagine life without weed. It made me me. I knew I had to preserve my vital fluid. If I were to quit weed, it was crucial in my success in quitting other substances. I returned to my home state and left the state I was attending college in to clean up once and for all. I was retaining for 16 days when I finally got sober. I tried quitting weed on December 18th, but ended up relapsing on the 19th and the 20th, so December 20th, 2019 was my final high. I was much too scared to find out what would happen if I fapped, but the urges to have sex were definitely there. I powered through the CHS symptoms and years of emotions coming up from the SR and sobriety, and I cried often. I felt insane, but I knew I needed to keep going. I have been sober since December 21 and will never go back, and I know I couldn't have done it without holding my seed. My GF was extremely toxic, and my new awareness of this world was making it evident, and I had the power to put an end to it. We broke up, and I stayed sober for me and my family. My last time having sex was on December 4, 2019, and haven't consciously released since. My meditations were so much better without the thought of getting high bouncing around in my head. My yoga was going better. I could eat. I became addicted to self-improvement. Fast forwarding to nowadays, I can genuinely say I feel like I'm on LSD all the time. My life is so good. I love being alive. I went from a suicidal poly-addict bum to someone that people look at as someone who's got an extreme amount of discipline and appears extremely healthy.